What's up, guys? Eli here, back for another video. I'm listening to Pain Amplifier by Mythos. Fuck, Louis just ran into the camera. Pain Amplifier by Mythos. Finished Black Death from the early 90s. Yeah, really good stuff. A lot of you are probably familiar. If not, then you should probably check them out. Anyways, I'm just going to do a collection video. Vinyl. I got 10... Still going through my vinyl collection. I got 10 more records to show. Whether any of this stuff really appeals to a lot of you, that's hard to say. But hey, I'm still going to show it, and some of you will watch it, and that's all good. All right, we're going to start off with. I've talked about this band in the past, and people say guilty pleasure, that term, but I don't believe in guilty pleasures. That's just that's a term that shouldn't even exist. If you enjoy something, that's all there is. You like it. Shouldn't feel guilty about it. But anyways, if I were to have guilty pleasures, I guess this could be considered one. We got the debut Asia album. I mean, I love Asia. I've said this many times. Jeffrey Downs, Steve Howe, Carl Palmer, and John Wetton. I mean, there's a kind of a pop prog supergroup. I don't really need to talk about them. We all know who they are, and many of you won't care. The original pressing, obviously. Yeah, I love Asia. Yeah, I never really saw the whole making fun of the Asia thing, but whatever. It's all good. Next up, this is arguably my all-time favorite band, probably a tie with Black Sabbath. That is Rush with Signals. This is one of their 80s albums, the early to mid kind of 80s albums. I can't remember the exact year this came out, 82? And I don't remember this coming out in 82, but that's what it says, so that's what we're going to go with. Year I was born, so it's not like I'd remember. But yeah, original pressing. This is a promotional copy, but the only thing that makes it a promotional copy is a little stamp on the back. This, personally, if I'm going to talk about Rush for a second, this is my favorite era of Rush. I would say the early to mid 80s. I know, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that. And there's a lot of people that like the 70s stuff more, and I totally get that. But for me, it's like Signals, Moving Pictures is my favorite album of all time, just hands down. So Signals, Moving Pictures. What's the other one? There's like a trio that it's perfect albums to me. It's the other one that came out around that time. Signals, Moving Pictures, and Race Under Pressure. Those are the Rush albums that I love the most. I like the 70s stuff too, but that era for me is just fucking untouchable. So yeah, big Rush fan, absolutely. Next we have the only vinyl record I own from this band, but I have a good handful of their CDs. I'm not the biggest modern power metal fan, but I do like this band a lot. Camelot, Poetry for the Poisoned. This is not one of my favorite albums of theirs. It does have some cool artwork. Not one of my favorite albums of theirs. In fact, I avoided buying this for the longest time. This is a self-release by the band, by the way. It was pretty cool. It was not real expensive, and it came with this CD, so I bought it for that reason. And it kind of grew on me. It's a double gatefold. Kind of grew on me. I mean, I don't know. This is the last album to feature Roy Khan on vocals. I consider Roy Khan to be one of the hands down one of the best singers in heavy metal of all time. The dude's voice is just fucking incredible. His range is just untouchable. But anyways, if you haven't heard Camelot, they're kind of like a proggy modern power metal band from the USA. Been around for quite a long time. They're pretty popular, really, in this genre. There's a pretty cool song on here that I think it's Hunter's Season. No, it's not Hunter's Season. It might be the Zodiac. It's got guest vocals from what's his name from Sabotage. fucking terrible with names. Singer from Sabotage does some guest vocals on that, and that's pretty cool. And it's a decent album. It's kind of a grower. It's one of my least favorite from them, but I don't know. I like Camelot. For the style, I think they're pretty cool. Next, here's another band that people are fucking always needing to talk about for one reason or another. So I guess you could say controversial. But I've enjoyed this band since their first album, maybe even a little before that, and I don't give a fuck really what anyone thinks, because why would I? Why would you? Anyways, picture disc of the first Ghost album. Probably their best album, really. Which it kind of sucks when the band peaks with their first release, but the B side right there. But their last full length was very good too. So that was kind of a comeback for me. Their second album, honestly, I didn't think their second album was that bad. It had some really cool songs, but it definitely has some filler. But I like Ghost. If you have a massive problem with them, you might want to question why they bother you so much. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and no one. It's really not our position to challenge the opinions of others. Because why would you give a fuck? Stupid. Anyways, I like Ghost. Next up, we have who the fuck doesn't love this band? Got Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time. A lot of people are kind of iffy on this one. I like it. It's not their best album, but it's definitely a good album. I dig it. I didn't know this for the longest time, but it's pretty fucking obvious, I guess, when you really think about it. It's not a concept album per se, but it's and I think it was actually, there might be some songs that have something to do with it, or it might just be the cover art, but at least the art is inspired by what's that movie? It's a great movie, Blade Runner. Anyways, yeah, Blade Runner was an inspiration for the art, both the front and back, and I can't remember if there's songs. Hot Somewhere in Time, maybe. I can't remember. I don't know if there's any songs in here that have anything to do with Blade Runner, but the artwork does. Anyways, it's a good album. Not their best, but it's a good album. Here's a great album. This might be their best. Debatable, of course, because we all have our opinions, but fuck. Iron Maiden Killers. It's hard to say. Everyone has their favorite Maiden albums, and I really do like the Bruce Dickinson era, of course, but this album right here is just, it's a perfect 10 out of 10 heavy metal album, and that's all there is to say about it. It's just so good. It's untouchable, really, even by the band themselves. Got a couple left. Got 4 left. These next two are essentially the same album. I just have 2 versions of it. I can't remember which one's I don't know what to call them. I don't know which one. I don't know what to say what versions they are, but they're 2 versions of the same album, which, yeah. This is the Music for Nations release. Virgin Steel 2, Guardians of the Flame. I really love Virgin Steel, man. So fucking good, man. Yeah, what's to say about this band? Traditional, or you could even probably call them U.S. power metal from New York. From the early 80s, kind of a Manowar. If you haven't heard them, I mean, they're kind of a Manowar-esque sound, I guess you could say. David DeFeus, the singer, when he sings, I mean, his voice is he's a dead ringer for. He almost sounds exactly like Eric Adams from Manowar. I would say at times when Virgin Steel, I don't know why I took this out. I'm going to put it back in the sleeve. When Virgin Steel are on fire. I think they can sometimes top some of Manowar stuff. Yeah, it's a really good band. If you like power metal, especially of the old school variety and Virgin Steel, you'll know them. But if not, they're probably most likely going to be for you. Really good stuff. Here's the other version, and this is I think this is the original actually. This is the Mongol Horde pressing, which is a label from New York that I don't think has been a thing for a long time. So there's that cover. So I'm pretty sure this is the original pressing, and the one I just showed you was a different one. So same album. Good album. I don't think it's their best. I think this is their second album, but it could be their third. '83. I think it's their second. But anyways, it's early stuff from the band. I think this band, I think it took them a little while to really come up with their own style, I guess you could say. Their first album, I'm not a big fan of their first album. It's okay. Some people like it. Yeah, but yeah, I think it took them a good 3-4 albums to really hit their stride, and it happens, you know. Cool band, though. I do love them a lot. Next we have, this is by no means one of this band's best albums, but it's got some good jams on there, and I've always loved the cover art. I wish the album kind of matched, I wish the music matched the cover art a little better, but we all know this one also, Saxon, the Crusader. This is one of their more commercial albums. If you know Saxon, you know that they definitely tried to scratch the surface of, they definitely tried to cross over into the, what would you call it, like more commercial metal. I think they wanted some of that, they wanted some of the spotlight and maybe some of the bucks that bands like Judas Priest and, you know, I don't know who else, I don't know. They wanted some fame. And they are famous, but they wanted some money, I think. I'm trying to word this without, you know, completely bashing on them, but it is what it is. I like it. It's this is not the album I reach for when I'm sitting there and I hear some Saxon. Very rarely is this the album I reach for. Very fucking rarely, and I think most Saxon fans are that way too. But it's an okay album. It's got some good jams, and it's also got some not so good jams. What year did this come out? 84, so it's still in one of their earlier albums. I don't know if this is their third album, fourth, I can't remember. The earlier stuff, the stuff that came before this is much better, and they would actually put out stuff, you know, even years after this that was much better too. If you want to hear a album that they did, I don't want to say recently, but it's, you know, in the last 10, 15 years, check out Lionheart. For a newer Saxon release, I think that one's fantastic. I think that's the best. I think for me, that's probably their best album after their first few. Anyways, that's just how I feel. I don't know how you guys feel. I love Lionheart. Don't have it on vinyl, so I'm not going to show it, but sure do love it. This is the only other. I think this is the only other Saxon vinyl record I have, and this is Eagle Has Landed live. Seen better days, obviously, but hey, it still plays. Yeah, it's just a live album from, what year did this come out? Who really cares, anyways? Don't know when it came out. Saxon live, pretty good live band from what I've heard and seen on, you know, YouTube or whatever. Yeah, definitely dig Saxon. That is 10 records, so that's all I have for you. Feel free to make fun of me for liking Ghost and Rush and Asia and Camelot, and I really don't care. But how do you guys feel about these bands? There will be no judgment from me whether you like them or not, and that's how it should be. So, anyways, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for doing all that you do. We will talk soon. Cheers. Louis says hi, by the way. Cheers.